Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Chevy Camaro SS. And in today's video, I'm really going to explain why the new Camaro is a lot better than what a lot of people are saying on the internet. I've read the reviews, I've seen all the stuff, but as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the car, then we're going to take it out to see how the Camaro drives. And a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Chevy here in Murray for providing us with a car. If you're in the market for a Chevy, check these guys out. Link in the description to their inventory. So starting under the hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that is all routed through a 10-speed automatic transmission in this particular Camaro. And fuel economy numbers are actually really good for a V8. So 16 around town, which you're like, yeah, that might be typical, but 27 on the highway. So really, really good on that aspect. And then power outputs, 455 horsepower, 455 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over things on the front end, and I know this has been a point of contention for people, but you have to see this car in person. It looks so much better in person than pictures or even video will do. But I love the little venting here on the hood. I think that's such a nice touch on the car. And then here's the whole front end. So they've got these new LED lights, so it's kind of like an LED accent light that goes all the way up and around with the projector bulbs as well. Blacked out Chevy bow tie logo, and then they've got the whole grille is blacked out, and it's kind of cool how you can see everything through the grille as well. So really, really neat on that side of things. But like I said, you have to see this car in person because I can already see by looking through the lens of the camera just isn't doing this justice. Just the presence that this has is so much nicer in person. We have these beautiful gloss black rims in the front and in the back as well. 245mm here, 275mm in the back, so they are staggered. I love how they did the red brake calipers on them. There are Brembo brakes on the Camaro here, and then you can kind of see just how aggressive these tires are. So just like it is now September, these are going to stick to the road very, very well. It's 70 degrees outside, so yeah, this car is going to be quite a bit of fun to drive. Here's our key fob for the Camaro. So you can see you got a couple functions, your lock and unlock, and then remote start. So if we lock the car, hold down the remote start function on it, you'll hear that naturally aspirated 6.2 liter come to life. Probably won't be able to hear me very well. You turn that off though, and then you press that button twice, and that will unlatch the trunk mechanism in the back. And guys, I finally said trunk and not tailgate. I did not mess up this time, but we can open this up so you can see the storage space. So the opening is a little bit smaller, but it's not bad by any means, because once you actually get into this trunk area, it's a ton of cargo space, especially for, you know, what I consider like a muscle car, pony car slash sports car. You know, this typically for a lot of people will be a secondary vehicle, and yeah, you can't trap one in here. There's the little release, and it shows a person running away from the car, which is kind of funny. Now finishing things in the rear, I love this spoiler. So you guys can see kind of from the back, the whole design, it just looks fantastic. So I love this body painted spoiler that they have in the rear. I like how they're doing the taillights. I know that a lot of people, again, have said some things, but see these in person, and it just looks so cool how they've done the taillights on the Camaro. Parking sensors, you can see, are integrated. You've got the little SS logo right there. And then quad outlet exhaust in the rear makes it look a lot more aggressive and a lot sportier. And then again with those tires, look at the girth, but then also just look at how aggressive those are. Jeez. Now I've got keyless entry, so one touch will unlock it, and then if you press it again, that'll lock it, as you can see. But we can open up the door, and I'm actually really impressed with the interior on this SS. So really nice soft touch leather at the top here with some contrasted stitching. I love red. You guys know I'm a sucker for red. You don't have to get this in red. That's just what they did in the interior. I believe it's the adrenaline red is what this interior color is called. But yeah, interior stitching with red as well. And then you can see all the controls for the windows. It does have memory seat controls. I like how they've done the door handles here in the Camaro. And then coming over the seats, they've done seat belts that are red to match. And then full red inserts on these seats. It says SS on it with more of that red contrasted stitching. Full power adjustments on the seats, and then you can see you've got the little pedal layout just down below with the hood latch release right there. Steering wheel is manually adjustable, but let's head into the back. So looking at the back seats here, I mean, this is a muscle car, so you don't expect a ton of room here, but I'm glad that they've continued that really nice leather into the back and the red seat belts all throughout. You do get some nice leather padding in that area, which is nice, and a little kind of storage space as well. And then you can see there's a pass-through just up above. But yeah, legroom in here in general is pretty cramped, but the back seats look cool. So plus on that. Now, as I'm stepping in, I forgot to mention, Bose sound system on the car. Step-in height's gonna be a little bit lower, but it's actually pretty easy to get into the Camaro. And then to start it up, it's got a stop-start button right here, so put your foot on the brake, push that, and then you hear that 6.2 liter rumble to life, and man, does it sound good. Right here, we've got all of our controls for the center stack right there, and you can see you've got your phone controls, volume controls on that part of the steering wheel. Paddle shifters mounted on the back of the steering wheel to shift the gears yourself through that 10-speed automatic transmission, and then beautiful red contrasted stitching around this leather steering wheel. Heated steering wheel controls right there. It says Camaro in the center, and then that's for your collision warning, and then this is your cruise control and the Camaro, and then your regular light slash turn signal stock on that side, and then over here is kind of like your windshield wiper stock. And by the way, you pull it back to clean the windshield. I kind of found that out a little bit earlier, but let's go over to the gauge cluster. So you can see the gauge cluster here. So you've got your RPMs on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you've got your speed, and you see you've got your fuel gauge and all of that. And then you can see that there's a couple different menus that you can kind of scroll through here on this little center screen to give you different bits of information on the Camaro. But it's just nice, all of the information that you can essentially get. So you can see this little drop-down menu that you can pull down. And yeah, I mean, it gives you pretty much anything that you could ever want to know in the car. Performance, that's what we really want to know. It's cool, all these little performance gauges that you can go through onto the car. Now here is our infotainment system. So little touch screen. You can see that it's got the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which it's a must-have for a lot of people nowadays. But you can see the responsiveness on the touchscreen is actually really good, and does have ambient lighting. And look how many different colors that you can actually choose from for the ambient lighting. Green doesn't quite match my truck, but I mean, that'll have to do. But yeah, I love how they give you so many different color options. It's definitely something that a lot of other manufacturers should include, is that many options when they do have the ambient lighting. And while we're here, let's go over the backup camera. So if we put it into reverse, you can see a backup camera pop up with some trajectory lines right there. So it makes parking the Camaro a lot easier. And then you can see also the parking sensor system. And we can see just down below the touchscreen, analog controls for that touchscreen are right there. And then we've got heated and ventilated seats up front. Definitely a luxury feature. You can see all of your analog climate controls are all in a row right there. And then I love the vents on the Camaro. So you can see that they're the twist vents to go up or down in temperature. So you can see as I'm turning this, the temperature changes. I love the design on them, and then I love how easy it is to kind of like center the fan where you want to put it. So again, this is something that I think a lot of other car manufacturers should do in their vehicles, because it looks cool stylistically, but then it's also very functional, and they do it with all of the vents. So those obviously don't change the temperature like these vents do, but they're at least like the swivel vents, so they're easy to kind of face so you get the best airflow. Now we have our automatic shifter, so you've got your contrasted stitching, and then that is the manual shift mode, so you can shift with the little paddles right there if you are in that mode. And then you've got your stability control right here in this area. You've got your drive modes, your parking brake cup holders, but let's go over the drive mode. So those will pop up here in the gauge clusters. You can see that there's touring, and then sport, which you can, if you can hear that, it'll open up the valves. And then you've got track, and then you've got snow and ice. So we'll start off our review in the touring mode, and then we'll go over the sport. Probably won't use the track mode because I mean, it's not like we're drifting or anything like that. So here's the center console, more leather with the red contrasted stitching, and you can see that that opens up super simple. And then we can pop over to the glove box right here. So pretty normal sized glove box for a car in this segment. Nothing too fancy up in this area, just some light controls. This is a game changer for the Camaro. So here's your rear view mirror, and let me try to center this so you guys can see. This is your normal visibility throughout the rear window, which that's been a big complaint on the Camaros, is rear window visibility. But now with the new camera system that Chevy's integrating into all of their cars, it's not an issue anymore. So you can perfectly see through the rear view, even though the window's a little bit smaller. And then this car also comes with that blind spot monitoring system on the two side view mirrors. So between the blind spot on the side and then this new rear view mirror system, the Camaro is super easy to see out of. So there's no more excuse for not getting the car because of visibility. So I would go over the window sticker right there, but it's kind of stuck to the window and I don't really want to be the person that pulls it off. However, this is a 2SS package, and it stickers for just over $46,000 before any type of market adjustment, which I feel like is a really good value, basically for like how nice this whole interior is. and just the engine that you get as well with the new 10-speed automatic transmission. However, that all being said, let's take this 2SS out to see how it drives. Before we start off on the 2020 Camaro, let's talk about visibility. So you can see visibility over the hood. It's actually pretty easy to see over. It is a little bit of a longer hood, so it takes you a second to get used to. And you can also see that cool heads-up display, which gives you the miles per hour and the RPMs. Really, really neat feature right there. And then you can see visibility throughout both of the mirrors. It's actually a pretty decent amount over both of those, and they also have blind spot monitoring, and then you can see visibility throughout the rear. And like I talked about in the review, visibility throughout there isn't the best. However, they've got that new camera system here in the mirror, so that helps out with visibility there a ton, because I mean, you can see the difference by using the camera and not using the camera. I mean, it is an absolute game changer. So we are setting off, and I accidentally put it into sport mode because I was doing those exhaust clips, but now we've got it in the touring mode. So this is kind of like your everyday driving mode, and this is going to be where it's more important in terms of road noise and ride quality. So I can hear quite a bit with the tires, and that was expected. I mean, low profile tires with larger rims, you're going to have road noise, guys. In terms of ride quality, in that touring mode, it's actually pretty smooth. These roads are pretty beat up, and it's just kind of going over them very smoothly. So from like a daily driver standpoint, you could very, very easily daily drive this, but let's switch it over into that sport mode, which is what all you guys really, really want to see. So in the sport mode, I'm noticing that the exhaust gets a little bit louder. The steering feels tighter as well, just kind of very lightly nudging the steering. Suspension still feels really smooth though in this sport mode. I imagine when you go over into the track mode, it's probably gonna make the suspension even tighter, where it's gonna be pretty bumpy. So the sport mode's probably gonna be the mode that you're gonna wanna drive it in, so you get that louder exhaust and the sportier steering feel. Now we're just gonna make a turn here so I can kind of really feel with the steering. So it's actually really light to go into turns, but it's very direct with this car. I mean, it just kind of, the car goes right where you want it to go. It's very, very direct, and I would almost call it like darty in a sense, where it just goes right exactly where you put the car. Now, while we're kind of on this road, I want to just use these paddle shifters just to kind of see how responsive this 10-speed is. Yeah, I'm not trying to do an acceleration or anything, but these gear shifts, I mean, you can see they happen super, super quick. So this 10-speed automatic, really, really solid on the gear shift side of things. So let's get a little acceleration here. Oh yeah, this has a ton of power. I mean, we got right up to speed just instantly, and I don't want to go full throttle all the way to redline, because you can see this is a brand new car with 9 miles, so anything above like 3,000 RPMs, not my thing. But yeah, this I can feel this has a ton of power. It is just it is crazy. I love that feel. I'll do a couple downshifts for you guys so you can kind of hear. And it looks like there is no one behind us for a second. Yeah, it sounds so sweet, and I mean, it's just so much power and torque. I really feel like this is like the perfect balance, because it's not so much power that I feel like I would get into trouble with this car, but it's still more than enough power where it feels like fun and exciting. Now let's sum things up with this 2020, I almost said 2019, my bad, 2020 Chevy Camaro SS. And if you're looking in the kind of muscle car, pony car segment, and you're also kind of looking at sports cars, you have to check this out, because that V8 sounds phenomenal. The power delivery is amazing. This new 10-speed automatic is super solid from like a daily drivability standpoint, but then also from like a fun, sporty driving standpoint as well. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds. And I mean, I'm just gonna say it, I owned a Shelby 350, and I mean, I've driven a million Challengers. This handles way better than the Challenger. In terms of the Ford, It's pretty close, actually. I mean, this feels lighter than the 350 that I had. I mean, it just feels like I can throw this into corners faster than what I would feel comfortable with that Shelby, basically. So if you're looking for like a fun, exciting car to drive that just feels sporty, definitely check out this new Camaro SS. And there we have it, everyone. The 2020 Chevy Camaro 2SS. Beautiful, beautiful car. And like I said, you guys need to see one of these in person before you make your judgment on the style cues on the car, because it looks so much better in person. But as always, if you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought. And then again, a big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller, Chevy here in Murray, Utah, for providing us with the vehicle. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in that next video.